guys, today on People Now, hello Facebook Live.
It's as much about the first child as it is about the second.
At home with Savannah Guthrie and her newly expanded family with baby Charlie.
Hey, little guy.
We've got your sneak peek this morning.
I believe I could fly. I believe I could.
The real reason Richard Simmons has vanished from the public eye, the People editor who talked to Simmons' brother is here with the details.
Meet the Girl Scout who set an astounding record for selling those delicious boxes of cookies.
She joins us live this morning.
Plus,
You feel very present in the moment, especially when you're filming like in the woods or on even some of the sets. Like the world of the sanctuary is a gloomy place.
This Walking Dead star is dishing some details about what it's really like around so many zombies. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Good morning, Facebook Live and People.com. Welcome to People Now. So much to get to today, including exclusive details on Richard Simmons and updates on Brad and Angelina. Plus, we are bringing you the story behind this adorable surprise that George Clooney did for a fan at a nursing home. Does it get any better than that? The guy's just endlessly adorable. We want to know, though, which celebrity do you most want to surprise you? If it was going to happen, we want to know. It's our Facebook question of the day. Let us know below. We will get to your comments a little bit later on in the show. But first, here's what you need to know and what's trending for today. The father of missing 15-year-old Mary Catherine Elizabeth Thomas, who goes by Elizabeth, thinks his daughter was preyed upon by her former teacher and alleged abductor, 50-year-old Tad Cummins, while she was at school. Elizabeth's dad, Anthony, spoke to People for the first time since his daughter's disappearance, saying he had no idea there might be something going on between Elizabeth and Cummins until Cummins was allegedly caught kissing her in his classroom in January. The photo you see now was released by investigators Tuesday. They say it was snapped, quote, days before the alleged sexual contact. Anthony opens up about Cummins and his daughter, saying this: Cummins built up a system where she was dependent on him. He gave her money, bought a microwave so she would heat food up in his room and try to get her out of trouble. Anthony tells People he confronted his daughter about Cummins, but she denied it, and he told her not to contact him again. He goes on to say she had always had a lot of confidence about herself, and suddenly this year, she had been very outwardly saying that she thought she was ugly. It must have been Tad was the only one who was making her feel good. I told her several times she was beautiful. Anthony goes on to add that his daughter has, quote, totally been absorbed by Cummins' delusions. Now Elizabeth was reported missing in Maury County, Tennessee on the afternoon of March 13th after she asked a friend to drop her off at a local Shoney's restaurant that morning. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation suspects that she is now with Cummins, who has been charged with aggravated kidnapping and sexual contact with a minor. The latter claim stems from the alleged kiss between him and Elizabeth back in January, which eventually led to Cummins' firing, according to the TBI. The family's attorney, Jason Watley, claims that Cummins groomed Elizabeth before they both vanished, and before she disappeared, Elizabeth changed one of her social media profile's bios to say wife with a ring emoji. Watley explains the situation, saying it is simply demonstrative of the power he has over her. If in fact they are together and everything we believe is happening, then that change of status is perfectly consistent with a man who would groom a young, impressionable girl into such a thing. There's a numbness about it. And Elizabeth's dad hopes a message will reach his daughter wherever she may be. Anthony telling People, please come home, get away from that man and come home. Everybody here loves you. That man is just using you. Wow, very tragic story there. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation asks anyone who believes they spot Cummins or Elizabeth to not approach them and instead keep an eye on them while calling 911. Now on to this. The new issue of People features exclusive details on fitness guru Richard Simmons, his disappearance from the public eye, and what's really going on in his Hollywood home. Simmons hasn't been seen in public or by many of his friends in nearly 3 years, leading to a lot of speculation about what happened to the formerly outgoing star. The speculation about Simmons has ramped up in part because of the popularity of the podcast Missing Richard Simmons, created by former Daily Show producer Dan Taberski, which details his search for the truth about Richard and his attempts to get an interview with him. But Richard's older brother, Lenny, tells People, my brother is fine, and that he and his wife, Kathy, spent 5 days at Richard's home over Christmas. But there have been signs of trouble. Last June, Richard's longtime live-in housekeeper, Teresa Reveles, called 911 to report that he was exhibiting bizarre behavior, and he was subsequently hospitalized for what he said was dehydration. Several weeks ago, the LAPD showed up at Simmons' front gate for the second time in a year to check on him. Detective Kevin Becker telling People, we went out and talked to him, and he's fine. Nobody is holding him hostage. He's doing exactly what he wants to do. Coming up, People editor Liz McNeil joins us live with much more on Richard's life today and exclusive details on how he and his inner circle are responding to speculation that he's now overweight, being held captive, or transitioning to female. Stay tuned for that. This week's People is going inside Brad Pitt's life since his split from Angelina Jolie. Pitt has mostly avoided the spotlight since the very public divorce, but behind the scenes, he's spending time with his kids and enjoying a more peaceful relationship with his ex. A source telling People, Brad's much happier. He's very relieved that things are not playing out in public anymore. It was a rough time, but they were able to resolve it. This is a work in progress. But the actor's main priority is seeing his 6 kids more regularly. An insider revealing that, quote, Brad is spending more time with the kids when they are in LA. He even spent some time with Maddox and Pax. Things are definitely calming down. Occasionally, he still gets a bit down. He went from having quite the chaotic full house to a very quiet house. Waking up with the kids every morning seemed to make him very happy. So, the question on everyone's mind, of course, has Brad Pitt started dating yet? Well, sorry, ladies, it doesn't look like it. According to sources, he's keeping a low-key social profile. The source adds he often has friends over, old friends are back in his life, and he seems happy about it. Well, we're happy for Brad, and for more on Brad Pitt and his fellow sexiest men alive, tune into the People Icons upcoming special March 28th at 10 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Andrea Boehlke, good morning.
Good morning. All right, you guys, let's check in with Facebook Live. We cannot get enough of George Clooney surprising this woman. It's so sweet. We'll bring you the details on that adorable moment soon. But we want to know which celeb you'd most want to surprise you. A lot of great answers here. Edward says, I would love a surprise from Zendaya.
Sandra says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, that would be
That would be really good.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Kelly says, I would love Gary Sinise to surprise me. And Carrie says, I would love to meet Vin Diesel.
And Dawn says Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell.
I also saw a Zayn in there.
Mind-blowing with those
You
two.
would love it.
Oh, Zayn?
You would love.
Was that Jeremy Parsons that
Yeah,
wrote
were
that
you
comment?
typing that?
It was not me. Keep the Facebook comments coming in.
All
We'd
right,
love to hear
will
from
be
you. We'll check in again with you again soon. But first, Andrea, even more training news for us.
Yes, I do, Jeremy. Well, Oscar-nominated actor Terrence Howard is opening up about his fresh start as a father after a violent divorce in Friday's issue of People. Terrence admits to hitting his first wife in 2001, as well as getting into a violent fight with his second wife while on a family vacation in 2013, telling People, I've made terrible mistakes in my life. After a spiritual rebirth and marrying his third wife, Mira Pack Howard, Terrence says he's a new man. They have 2 children together, and he tells People Mira is probably the person I will be with for the rest of my life. He also says, I still have growing to do. I just hope the mistakes I make now are smarter mistakes. All right, moving on to this. The Today Show's Savannah Guthrie is all smiles, showing off her baby boy Charlie in this week's People. In the interview, the morning show host opens up about balancing work with 2 kids and just how grateful she is for her now completed family. And you can watch the full Savannah sit-down on Penn's People feature streaming on Friday, but here's a tease of what she had to say about her second maternity leave compared to her first. Watch this.
Somebody told me this before I left, and I didn't really get it at the time, but they said, you'll see when you go on your second maternity leave, it's as much about the first child as it is about the second. And I think that's really true because the first child is older and knows how to get your attention.
Don't smile.
And you also feel like, oh, I really want to make this adjustment okay for her.
You were on this little show called The Walking Dead. Don't know if anyone's heard of it. You had a lot of scenes with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays the infamous Negan. What was it like working with that guy, and what's your biggest takeaway, I guess, from having been on the series?
Jeffrey's awesome, unbelievable actor, and he's given some really challenging. I mean, there is not one scene that goes by where he's not doing a 4-page monologue, you know?
I like that.
The whole cast is incredible,
Made me take notice.
and it's one of the best working experiences. Everyone is so passionate about it, so grateful, and they work so hard. Really, everyone gets along. I remember my first day on set there. It's like you walk in the lunchroom and there's everyone sitting, just eating together, and everyone's like, oh, come join with us and sit down. And it was
You got to invite to the cool table.
I got
At the
invited
lunchroom.
to
It was
Right
just
away?
one big cool table.
But it was just, yeah, and it is. And then everyone just sits together and works together and eats together, and that's a rarity.
We tell ourselves that we are the Walking Dead.
I've always wanted to know, is it as scary and intimidating to film those scenes? Because when you're watching, you're so
You know,
freaked out.
Yeah.
Do you get spooked out at all?
I mean, the sets are legit.
Look
you
pretty
know?
impressive
and
and
yeah,
realistic,
the
right?
makeup is like on another level. So there is kind of this, you feel very present in the moment, especially when you're filming like in the woods or on even some of the sets. Like the world of The Sanctuary is a gloomy place, and you feel that, you know, it's very real.
Go back while you can. You know I did.
All right, beautiful family. Stay with us, guys. George Clooney just surprised an 87-year-old fan of his for her birthday, and she's sharing some great details about their little meeting. Plus, Richard Simmons hasn't been seen publicly in 3 years, but we've got exclusive new details to share with you about how he is really doing. Stick around.
This is King Cutie in People. His Royal Highness Prince George Alexander Louis of Cambridge. These are George's parents, George's home, his Nana, the Queen, and his staff of 644 Englishmen. This is George's dog Lupo, who inspired his favorite book, The Adventures of the Royal Dog Lupo, one George will share now that he's a big brother. People. The details make the story. Don't miss this week's People.
I believe I could fly. I believe I could.
My whole formula has been love yourself, move your body, and watch your portions. I've never gone for anything drastic because I'm a compulsive eater and I know what it's like. And again, one more and hold it. It's great to be a kid. I'm 65 and I'm still a kid, and I think like a kid. I don't think like an adult. Again, and bring back the view. You're gonna give them some hope, because with hope you can cope. Now, come up, take a left. When you have self-worth, you can inherit the earth. On the side, sometimes we don't really understand how our body works, and we need to do that. And up.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Get home safely, and don't forget to count your blessings before you go to bed tonight. Okay, we're done.
Thank you. So great. It's clear seeing Richard Simmons in that video, why he is so beloved. The latest issue of People features exclusive details on the fitness guru's shocking disappearance from the public eye. Joining us now with the real story on what happened to Simmons is People editor Liz McNeil. Good morning, Liz. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let's dive right into this. Nearly 3 years ago, Richard stepped away from the public spotlight with really little explanation. People have kind of taken note. One of the few people he still regularly keeps in touch with is his brother, Lenny. What did Lenny tell you about his brother's decision and how he's living his life today?
Lenny, his brother, says this is completely Richard's choice. He said that Richard wanted to live a quiet life, that frankly he was a little tired. That pace that he had kept up for over 40 years, he said was absolutely exhausting. And he really made it clear that Richard is fine physically and that he has decided to live quietly and doesn't really leave the house.
Sure. And this is something that, look, people hear this and it's like, oh, we talked about this a while ago. Well, the reason, or one of the reasons that this is sort of perked back up to being talked about in the public attention is because of the popularity of a podcast, Missing Richard Simmons. We actually have a clip from the most recent episode. Let's listen to this and we'll talk about it.
I was a very obese person, and Richard helped me find my happy person. I will always love him.
He was the rock star to many of these people.
So obviously the whole podcast is centering around what's going on with Richard Simmons. It's hosted and was created by former Daily Show producer Dan Taberski. He's determined to find out what really happened to his friend Richard. Has Richard listened to the podcast at all, and what does his inner circle think of it?
The people in his inner circle say Richard has not listened to the podcast, but that he is aware of it.
Okay.
They really think that a lot of the claims in the podcast are sensational. They feel like it's raised a lot of, sensational sort of claims that are unfounded.
Okay.
They insist that this is Richard's decision to live a quiet life. And that he really is fine physically.
Now, it's interesting, Richard declined to be photographed or interviewed for this article, but his manager, Michael Catalano, did talk to People. What did his manager say about Richard's life today?
Richard said, Richard lives, again, a very private and quiet life. He saw him a week ago.
Okay.
He said that Richard doesn't really look that different, that he's still trim, he hasn't gained weight, he has a beard, he is perhaps a little bit more gray. And Catalano insists that a lot of these sensational claims that he's transitioning into a woman, that he's gained weight, that they are all completely unfounded.
Okay, so that was my next question, because there have been those things. People say he's overweight, maybe there's a health issue, transitioning to female. He says unfounded.
Absolutely, and he said that the one thing you have to remember is that this man kept up an incredible pace for 40 years, and that he really just wanted some time to himself.
Okay, now his housekeeper, Teresa Reveles, has been accused by some of manipulating or confining Richard Simmons. Any truth to those claims at all?
Again, what Michael Catalano says and his brother says is that Teresa is pretty much his live-in housekeeper, but that she is completely loyal to him, cooks for him, takes care of him, answers the phone, but that there's no motive and that she certainly isn't keeping him hostage.
Those closest to him certainly continue to say everything's fine, yet we still haven't seen or heard from him. It's fascinating because he has traditionally been such a public person and has seemingly loved being on camera, being in the spotlight. For him to go completely sort of into the shadows seems unlike him. But could this have been his plan all along?
You know, it's an interesting question, and it's interesting because many of the people that I spoke to used the word seclusion, which is an interesting word, that this was his choice. But there was an interesting quote that he gave us in 1981 for our cover story when he said, "The day I don't love this anymore, I'll walk away." And you can't help but think that that might be part of his decision.
Fascinating stuff. Liz McNeil, thank you so much for all the information. Guys, for even more on Richard Simmons, be sure to pick up the latest issue of People on newsstands everywhere Friday. Thank you.
This is Jennifer Lawrence in People. This is Jennifer photobombing Taylor Swift and Sarah Jessica Parker and Liam Hemsworth, proving that while we all love the fashion of the red carpet, it's people who steal the show. People. The details make the story.
The stars are on the move, and we're following them in today's edition of Star Treks.
I just wanted to meet the man. I'd heard so much about him, but I wanted to meet him, and he was charming.
And he didn't come empty-handed, did he?
No, I've got those flowers and the card. He wrote, "Pat, I thought you'd like some flowers with love, George." So I shall treasure that.
How adorable is that? A-list actor George Clooney surprised an adoring 87-year-old fan for her birthday, gifting her with flowers, a card, and this photo at a British retirement and assisted living center. Clooney, who lives nearby with wife Amal, received a letter asking to make a fan's dream come true, and I think it goes without saying that he certainly delivered. Linda Jones, a worker at the assisted living community, posted the sweet photo to her Facebook account, writing, "The lady in the picture, Pat, loves George Clooney and mentions every day how she would love to meet him, especially as he lives so near to where I work." Of course, George will soon be welcoming twins with wife Amal, so will he be paying Pat another visit with some little ones by his side? Maybe. Watch this.
He may do. Perhaps he might even bring the babies in with him. Who knows? And I love new babies. They're gorgeous. And I wish him well with them because he's a very nice man.
Love that. Now, if only George Clooney can pay me a visit at my house. Wishful thinking. And speaking of houses, ever wished you could live like Ellen DeGeneres? Well, for a cool $45 million, you can. The hilarious talk show host is selling the coastal California estate that she shares with wife Portia de Rossi. The couple purchased the 10,000 square foot property back in 2012 for a reported $26.5 million. And it's safe to say this place has got some style. Known as the Villa, the charming abode features 6 bedrooms, 9 fireplaces, a swimming pool, sunken tennis courts, a recently added guest house, and so much more. Ellen had this to say about the estate, telling Sotheby's listing agency, "The house is always surprising. It reveals itself to you in new ways every day. It's not overly manicured or tidy, it's not overly precious or perfect, and it's a home that manages to be both spacious and cozy at once." Of course, the 59-year-old star was deeply involved in the restoration and decoration of the property. For the past 25 years, Ellen has continuously bought, renovated, and sold numerous houses in Southern California. Back in 2015, she spoke to People about her interior design passion, saying, "When I'm in a room, I want everything I'm looking at to make me happy. I've gotten better over the years. This didn't happen to me right away. I shop a lot and I study a lot and I look at a lot of books and magazines. I just learned what I like. Well, how can you not like this? It's amazing. And maybe Ellen will let me stay for just a day." All right, guys, moving on to this. Supermodel Cindy Crawford is opening up about motherhood and aging in this week's issue of People. The 51-year-old beauty, who swears by hydrating and moisturizing her skin, is not alone in her good looks. Daughter Kaya and son Presley are both models themselves and seem to be following in their mom's runway footsteps. So what advice has Cindy shared with her teenage kids? Well, she tells people, I find that real parenting comes in leading by example. If Kaya hears me being critical of myself, that's what she is going to be. So even sometimes when I am, I don't show it. I want to be a good example for my kids. Of course, modeling can be a little tricky for the average teenager. Cindy, who dropped out of Northwestern University to pursue her modeling career, is now facing the same questions with her two children. Number one being, will Kaya and Presley attend college? Well, Cindy tells people, this is a big topic in our house right now. I would wish for both of them to at least have some part of a college experience, but when they're working and making their own money, it becomes a different conversation. They love reminding me, Mom, you dropped out, and I can't argue with that. Very funny. If you want to catch more of the supermodel's interview, including her go-to skincare tips, make sure to pick up your copy of People on newsstands everywhere Friday. All right, moving on to this. It seems like we have a new couple alert. According to a recent report from E! News, actress Elizabeth Olsen is reportedly dating indie artist Robbie Arnett. The pair was spotted walking arm in arm together in New York City on Monday, sporting chic fashion and lots of smiles. Elizabeth, who is the little sis of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, was last linked to Boyd Holbrook from the hit Netflix series Narcos, but they broke off their engagement in 2014 after 3 years of dating. Well, we are very excited for the possibility of this new couple, so stay on people.com for all the latest. And those are your Star Tracks for today.
That's you, right?
It's a very common theme that we hear. What's your number one lesson learned now, having dealt with this as a fake character, about the possibility of some salacious photos leaking? What's the number one tip to how to handle that in the public eye? Because that's happening right now with some actresses and things.
Yeah, that's really scary. And I don't know if you have to have a burner phone, you know, like nothing connected to the cloud. I just got an email the other day that my password was changed, and I had a total meltdown about it.
Oh my God.
I was terrified.
Yeah. In the public eye, I just think the number one rule is just don't do it.
I was going to say, your biggest thing is to cover the little camera on the laptop.
Cover all the cameras always.
You bet I cover that.
You do too?
Well, yes, electrical tape for sure.
Listen, everybody, stop sending the nude photos. Yeah, no naked selfies. Just don't do it. That's Christine Evangelista, who stars in E's new scripted series, The Arrangement. The sexy series deals with many Hollywood scandals, from leaked nude photos to messy breakups and even arranged marriages. The Arrangement airs Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's also our Toyota People Pick of the Day. So when Christine stopped by the People Now studios, Andrea and I had to ask if she'd ever enter an arranged marriage. Plus, what does she think of the comparisons being made between the show and Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' rumored contract? Take a look.
I definitely wouldn't do an arranged marriage at all, honestly, and I have no judgment for anyone that would. It's obviously great at times.
It's foolproof.
But I think that, you know, for me, if someone gives something to you, they can take it away just as fast, and that just creates something that I'm just really not comfortable with.
What?
So I don't think that's something that I would do. But rules in a relationship, I could only think about like in a prenuptial agreement type of way. And the only thing I really care about is my dog.
Okay.
And I can't imagine, like, if we split up, that dog's coming with me.
There have been a lot of headlines and a lot of talk comparing the theme here to the whole theories and conspiracies about like Tom Cruise, Katie Holmes. Why do you think that conspiracy or that line of thought has been attached to the show and the storyline?
I think people want to know about it. It's a question that, you know, they've read about or they've heard about, and I think that people want to know if it exists. And I understand people that create comparisons to that, to our show, but as you see watching it, like, these are definitely their own characters with their own lives, and it's not really about anyone else.
Guys, do you know what my favorite time of the year is?
What is it?
It's Girl Scout cookie season. Of course, one determined Girl Scout, Katie Francis, has achieved the lifetime record of selling 100,100 boxes over the course of her Girl Scout career. That is a lot of Thin Mints and a lot of happiness for a lot of people. We have the cookie rock star joining us live right here. Katie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for all the cookies.
Yes. What's your favorite cookie?
My favorite are the Samoas, also known as caramel delights.
Oh my goodness! All right.
I like the Thin Mints.
Me
Anyway, we were just talking before, and you know, you joined your Oklahoma City Girl Scout troop 7 years ago. You smashed all previous cookie records, which is amazing. So let us in on your secret. I know you have a 3-part formula, so can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I always say there's 3 ingredients to my sale. It takes lots of time. I go out every day after school and on the weekends. It takes commitment, and I do that by selling out, even when it's snowing, or especially when it's sunny and warm.
Yeah.
And then asking everybody I see.
You mentioned that, yeah, snowstorms don't stop you. You still go out and do it then. But what's the furthest that you've gone, or the most extreme effort you've given to selling a box of cookies?
Well, I try to factor in all the elements during my cookie sales. So
look at this. That's commitment.
I know.
Yeah.
Through the snow? My goodness.
Yep. So I go through the snow a lot sometimes. This year it's been pretty decent weather. But I try to factor in drive time because that takes away from cookie selling time. So I think the farthest I usually go is about 45 minutes at the very most.
Does it become a competition for yourself? Are you just a really driven person?
I just really enjoy it, and really I go out and I have fun, and then I just see what I can do.
You're really good at what you're doing. So you're also using your cookie selling earnings for good. You're helping mentor an underprivileged Girl Scout troop in your area. You're also funding for your troop's trip to Barbados, which is coming up. What's been the most exciting thing about reaching such a huge goal?
Well, of course, my favorite part about after the cookie sale is getting to give back to the community with all the money that we earn. So my favorite thing is mentoring the troop. We've done a huge camp with them where they wouldn't have gotten to go to camp. So we held a day camp where they learned skits and songs, and we roasted marshmallows, and they did tie-dye and crafts and all sorts of things. And here recently we held a cookie training meeting for them. And now we're looking forward to hosting like a badge fair for them.
I'm just wondering what would happen if like another like Girl Scout moved like next door to you, and suddenly she's going after the same people as you. It would be like the ultimate clash. Like you guys should have like a reality show face off with like the head sellers from across the country move into one town. Anyway, all right.
Like she's smiling, but you know that inside she's really competitive.
No, I love that. I like that. Look, you're the best like 6th grade salesperson of all time.
Yes.
What's your future goals? Do you want to go into sales? What do you think?
Well, I actually don't know. I'm just kind of keeping my options open.
It's early. You have some time.
A couple things that really fascinate me are like being an aerospace engineer or being an entrepreneur, of course.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think you're
both great choices.
onto some good stuff there, for sure.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. Congratulations on all the cookies you sold. And everyone, if you want to get your own cookies in your area, go to girlscoutcookies.org.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is Jennifer Aniston, who told people her beauty secret. It's called water. This is Julia Roberts, who confessed her $1 million beauty treatment. It's called sleep. This is Courtney, who escapes to the spa. And Michelle, who swears by good lighting. And this is Beyonce, who woke up like this. These are people's insider trading tips to beauty from the world's most beautiful people. The details make the story. Don't miss this week's People.
Well, guys, actress Rebecca Ferguson stars in the new sci-fi thriller Life. It's out this Friday, and I have to say, I think a few people would be a little jealous of her co-stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. What a team! Who wouldn't want to hang out with those guys all day? When I recently sat down with Ferguson, I asked her about the duo's rumored bromance, and I found out who tells the better dirty joke. Watch this.
It was the most incredible team to be around, and I don't know if they knew each other from before. It felt like they were best friends from before, and it creates this ambiance of humor and wit and jokes. And Ryan has great music taste, by the way.
Really?
I don't really know what it is, and he's still to give me a list. I'll send it to you when I know.
Will you? Thank you. So, and what do you mean by that? Just music that he would have on, or that he would just sing?
Trailer.
Or?
So his trailer was next to mine, and because I couldn't be bothered to walk all the way to his trailer, I basically wouldn't. I was first, like on the Jake Gyllenhaal number 1. I was 2. He was all the way down there somewhere.
That's too bad.
So I walked to the middle. He would walk to the middle, and then we'd lie on the ground and listen to his music.
Ryan Reynolds, obviously, the Deadpool character is in our heads. I feel like they're, in some ways, just seeing interviews with him or whatever, and having spoken with him, he feels like he's got that similar sensibility. I just want to know, between him and Jake, who's better and more apt to tell the best vulgar, dirty joke?
Arian Bakari.
So
he is so naughty.
So let's compare him. Let's compare him and Tom Cruise. Who can tell the best dirty joke? Tom? Does he take the cake on that all the time?
No, I think maybe we mirror our audience.
Okay.
I don't know. So maybe basically just being around me.
Okay. You're the one that brings it out of them. All right, guys, let's check in with Facebook Live one more time. We want to know which celebrity you most want to surprise you.
Yes, a lot of good ones. Dana says, I would love to meet Chrissy Metz from This Is Us. We've actually met her, and we will say she is amazing.
And that would be really great for you.
Yes.
Andrea says Taylor
I wasn't
Swift.
trying to brag or anything. No, I wasn't trying to brag.
No, but it would be.
It would
No,
be, yeah.
seriously. Like, that's a legitimate thing to say. Andrea says Taylor Swift, not you.
Oh, not me.
Okay.
No. But I actually was thinking that I would want to be surprised by Taylor Swift, so I feel you, Andrea. Iris says, please send Ellen to my place, please. She's so funny and sweet.
And someone else commented, like, can someone loan me $45 million so I can buy Ellen's house? Pauline says, I would love for Oprah to surprise me. Laura said, I would like Lady Gaga to surprise me. We could tear up this pretty little Wisconsin town.
Kevin from Connecticut says he wants to get surprised by Jeremy.
Oh, come on.
No, he does.
Well, funny you should say that because Danny from Hoboken says he wants to get surprised by Andrea.
No, okay.
It says it right here.
Wait.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Marcia Gay Harden reveals a surprising drink Rob Lowe had every day on the set of CBS's Code Black. Plus, we sit down with Woody Harrelson for his new movie, Wilson, which is very quirky and funny. And he's funny.
Thanks for watching. For now, we leave you with one last thing from me, Ray Enos. Enjoy.
Bye, guys. See you at your house.
Hi, I'm Mireille Enos from ABC's The Catch, and this is One Last Thing. The last time I was inspired was when my sister, who works for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, went to Washington to lobby for healthcare funding. A last family vacation was to Paws Up Resort in Montana, which is beautiful. The last text I sent was a picture of Mommy saying hi to my monkeys.
Hey YouTube! Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment if you enjoyed it. And for more People Now, click on the subscribe button down here.
And check out more great video right now by clicking on one of these links.